So my quillen has been tapered basically in this direction. Can't see it too well with this. Let me move the camera for a second. It's been basically tapered in that direction. Started from about halfway down the bar. Now this is what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to start it up. I'm going to heat it up and bend it. Okay. I'm going to oxyacetylene torch. I'm basically set up a 1-to-1 ratio. This thing, basically, when I'm going to fire it up, this is the acetylene. Crank it a little bit. It'd be great if I had one of these things that actually would blow a spark. Try again. There we go. Too much. Okay, I'm basically going to set this up. So basically, you see we're starting to flutter about an inch out. Looks like a good place to set up. I'm going to add oxygen slowly. Yeah, it might be a little bit much. It's a pretty hot flame. It's okay. Okay, so I'm here. Now, the way I'm going to work this is I'm going to basically, I'm looking at this thing. I'm just doing it by my eye. You can see my paper is right there, but I can see what the bend is. Essentially, I'm going to work my way down on this. I'm not going to get this all the way hot, like putting it in a forge. This is kind of like the poor man's forge here, although it is using a lot of gas. But I'm applying pressure this direction, pushing like that with my pliers. And as I heat, I'm heating on the side that's going to stretch out and bend. And I can start to get it bend pretty good. Now this first like 2 inches of this thing, there's a pretty strong curve. You see how I'm working down. As soon as it gets orange like that, it'll bend like crazy. But I'm also looking down at my picture here. So what I'm trying to do is kind of like get a good idea of approximately what kind of bend I'm getting. Trying to stick with the bend that the picture goes. When I get to a certain point, I can actually pop this off, hold it up against my picture and see how it's doing. So just knock that out of the way. And a little bit more here. It's a pretty tight bend right at the quillen. That's not awful. Now I'm just going to keep on working it around. This is something that if you're doing it for the first time, I could talk about it all day, but you really have to do it yourself. You've got to really get in there and play around with this thing. What's good about it is you really can't necessarily you can't really ruin it. If you're having problems with it, if you don't get the right curve, you'll notice that I'm trying to get a really nice even curve out of this thing. If you have a problem, one of the big problems people have, like the new people who are doing it, like my students, is that you can kink it by heating up in one place more than another. Check and see how this looks. You got to be careful about getting this too close to your paper there, because you can set it on fire. Usually, if it gets to where it's not really working for you in terms of curves, if you've made mistakes, you can basically turn this thing off, reset it, and go again. So I think I'm right from about there. I've got to curve a little bit more. That's looking pretty good. I'm going to dunk it in the water. Now comes sort of the hard part. What I'm going to do is try and make a curly Q out of that end. And that's going to be beating the heck out of it and using a pair of even those pliers to try and wrap it around. Again, I usually heat from the side that's going to stretch when I bend it. I'm going to get this one nice and orange. Needle nose pliers don't love to do this. See, when it gets really hot, you see the molecules sort of fly off that sucker. That's not bad. I'm going to dunk it, then we'll take a look. It's looking pretty good for me. I'm liking that. Now I'm going to mark off, I'm going to grind off this thing flat, so it's basically going to, I'm going to cut right across there with my grinder, and then I'll be able to weld this on. Okay?